Hello everybody, I'm Richard Gon of Actually podcast version. So this time, what I'd like to talk about it is the weird stuff I learned in this country, and the weird stuff is of course about the thoughts of Japanese people in to this pandemic of coronavirus. And recently, so not so recently, I'm recording this episode in in the end of or in the almost end of January in 2022, and maybe the earlier part or the former half, maybe on the former half or in the middle of this month, there was a policy applied to this country, and the policy is pre-emergency measures for preventing coronavirus from spreading in this country, because the number of the patients of coronavirus the number because the number of the patients of the coronavirus became the highest, or the became the recorded highest in this country anyway. So which is why such measures were applied in this country. And but before the date of the application, people cease to go outside, which means I I I watched a news days before, and according to which people people stopped going outside. People stopped going outside. They even days before the application of the measures. What I'm telling you is that there was a measures applied to this country, and which had been applied days before this recording, and even before the date of the application of the measures for blocking blocking the spreading of coronavirus. People 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 voluntarily stopped going outside, which is what I'm telling you. So why this happened is, from this part, I'm going to explain why I'm going to explain the weird stuff I witnessed, or I learned, or I came to know. And the weird stuff is the reason why people stopped going outside. That is because according to the news I watched, that is because people do not want to cause trouble for others. I will tell you again the reason. People didn't want to go outside. That is because they didn't want to cause trouble for people surrounding themselves. For example, if you live with family, the family members are those people around you. And in the case of, for example, and in the news, some people were interviewed, and the interviewees, or the people interviewed are office workers, students, and maybe in the news I watched days before, young people were interviewed. Young people are interviewed, but for example, young people of 20s, yeah, young people of whose ages are in their 20s were interviewed in the news. And according to those interviewed people, they said they didn't want to cause trouble for other people, because they may trigger the infections of coronavirus to, for example, in the communities they belong to, like universities, or families, or, for example, so workplaces in some cases. So they said they didn't want to cause trouble for, or they didn't provoke create they didn't want to create problems in their communities, which is what those young people said. But I found this really weird, because 2 years have almost 2 years have almost passed. 2 years have almost passed since the kickstart of the pandemic of coronavirus. Because I'm recording this episode in on January in 2022, and in the case of my country, the kickstart or the start or the beginning of the pandemic of coronavirus had begun maybe on February in 2020, maybe on February or on March in 2020, as long as I can remember. Maybe on the earlier months in 2020, the pandemic of coronavirus had begun. I mean, the pandemic is this pandemic. Anyway, so you know, it was easily understandable, or it was easily comprehensible that if those people went outside, if those people went outside, there were possibilities to cause trouble for others by spreading coronavirus to family members or their friends in universities or colleagues, their colleagues in their workplaces. Such possibilities have existed since the beginning of this pandemic, and it was really easy to recognize that there was such a possibility to spread that virus, that coronavirus, but by the actions of young people. For example, I think this is a case to I think this is the case to you, because you can understand that I don't know. I'm not telling you that you have to mind your action. I'm not telling you that you have to mind action. There's a possibility or how should I say, better said, you have a possibility to spread the virus you have if you go outside, or if you go to some community like schools or workplaces, and any communities are fine, because if you belong to some communities, and if you have possibilities to bring the virus from the outside to inside and spread the virus to or among your family members. It's quite possible, which is what I thought, which is why I found what those interviewed people said really weird. So I don't know. So I don't know whether that is caused by the edition of the videos by flagship stations or broadcasting companies. I don't know. I don't know whether broadcasting companies or flagship stations in, intentionally created such videos or such broadcasts, telling the viewers, or telling the audience that young people think that they don't want to cause trouble for other people, which is why they stopped going outside. I don't know whether broadcasting company wanted to create such stories, or I don't know. I don't know whether there's another possibility is that broadcasting company or flagships or flagship stations or key stations created created videos telling the audience the truth, and if that is true, or if the broadcast if the broadcast stuff by key stations was true, if the broadcast was true, that means young people think that they shouldn't cause trouble for other people by spreading coronavirus. But it's really easy to understand, because coronavirus, the pandemic of coronavirus happened almost 2 years before, 2 years ago. Thinking about which there's there has been a huge remarkable possibility to spread the viruses, but by the actions. For example, the typical example is going outside. What I'm concerned about is why they said such a thing. Why they began to talk about such a possibility causing trouble for other people 2 years after the kickstart of this pandemic, which is which is what I found really weird, because it's really it's too late. It's too late for me to realize that maybe those young people have realized that possibility. Actually, I hope so. I hope so. But so they added, maybe some people have thought that they shouldn't cause trouble for others by spreading the dirty coronavirus. But that that is that they didn't. I couldn't find any necessity in saying that they shouldn't cause trouble for other people 2 years after the kickstart of pandemic. Because and moreover, comparing the infectivity and severity of the strains, it's what is prevalent, or what has widespread in this country is Omicron strain, and Omicron strain has stronger or higher infectivity, but Omicron strain doesn't give people severe problems, but rather Delta strain, which had been widespread in my country last year, but and that Delta strain has a strong power to give people severe problems, and some people were killed by Delta strain. Considering which, that the strain which has been widespread now is not that severe, which means what I'd like you to know is that those Japanese people are weird. What those Japanese people said was really weird, because Omicron strain is not that severe, so it's fine if they have to be concerned about spreading Omicron strain. They should have concerned about spreading Delta strain even before the kickstart of even before the kickstart of the pandemic of Omicron strain, which is what I also thought. So summing up what I have just told, summing up what I told you in this episode. So what I found weird was that those Japanese young people thought that they shouldn't cause trouble for other people, which is what they said 2 years after the kickstart of the pandemic. And if they another stuff I found weird was that Omicron virus is not that strong. So if they are concerned about, if they thought it was necessary to block or prevent themselves from spreading coronavirus, they should have said that that they shouldn't cause trouble for other people when Delta strains or other stronger strains had been widespread. They should have said that even before the kickstart was the beginning of the pandemic of Omicron strains, because Delta strains and other alpha beta strains had been stronger and gave many people severe or harsher problems, which caused some patients die. So which is what I wanted you to know this time. That's it. Thank you very much for listening. See you.